Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. Hooray! I think I hear myself again.
Welcome.
Okay, so I gotta pause that. That's the Facebook one. I paused that for myself. I remember that happening before when I went live on Facebook. It's fun.
It talks, it echoes.
Yeah, I can't have the volume on. Oh, what will I do? I just paused it. I have the volume still on so I could hear people. So if you want to talk to me and you're on live, raise your hand. If you're watching this on Facebook, I put a link there. If you want to join, you can. Yes, Hope Johnson is live now. Okay, so that's happening. I'm just going to leave that alone. So yay, everyone. Yay, yay. I've been getting so much inspiration and gratitude. I've had some of my friends who are just really ready to open up, just really to that point where they go, okay, that's enough. I gotta stop believing my own thoughts. I gotta stop believing that what I'm perceiving is the truth. You know, and the ego gets really defensive about that stuff. Like if your story is that the people around you, the people that you've been around for years, your close friends or family should be different, that sucks. Basically, that's hell. Okay. Maybe your kids are different from you. Maybe they're into, maybe you're into natural stuff and your kids are into mainstream stuff. Maybe your kids are thinking about getting vaccines. Maybe your spouse or your lover is thinking about something like that. Now, why should that affect you? Why? Other than to demonstrate that separation is true. I mean, there's no reason, it's not reasonable that the way someone prefers to live their life is going to be a problem for you, you know, unless you want to make separation. And the thing is, we are wired to want to make separation because that's what keeps the illusion of separation intact. So, you know, what's wanting that, one way to see it is that it's pretending. It's pretending. You can even say, I'm pretending. I'm pretending to want that, to want and to drive crazier and not be such a careful freaking person on the road, or whatever you think it is. I want Anne to smoke more ganja. She's like, seems like she needs to like smoke ganja and kick back a lot more. She's giving me a cross-eyed look. Whatever it is, I want my family to be interested more in gardening than they are in playing video games, for instance. This is the kind of stuff that makes illusions of conflict in the world, including all the conflict that you see everywhere. It's the kind of stuff, it's the internal conflict being made manifest. That's all it is. And you know, we can only be pretending that we want someone or something to be different than what it is. We can only be pretending that because really what we really want is for it to be exactly the same as it is, and for us to see it clearly, because when we see it clearly, you know, that's the vision that we need, the vision of love. When we see it clearly, it doesn't matter what it's doing on the surface. Those are the body's senses. That's not seeing. It's opposite of seeing. Whatever your body senses are taken, those separate senses, you know, the eyesight, the sound, the smell, all that, and then interpret the senses, okay? And the interpretation of the senses is wrong if it's any kind of unhappiness. If it makes any kind of unhappiness, the interpretation of the senses is incorrect. correct, and it can use a correction, and you can have a correction whenever you want it, and that will uplift your spirits. And I see it take time for people to get to the point where they'll actually apply that to the thing in their life that seems to be a mess, that seems to be making things messy for them. Just watch whenever you think you want something in this world, that you're aware that you're pretending, or at least, if you can't see that you're pretending, if you're not willing to see that you're pretending, or you just can't, hope that you're pretending. Hope that you're pretending, that you're not really affected in that way, because that sucks. Okay? Because then, you're doomed. Hope that you're not doomed. How about that? All right, Corrine, you have your hand up. Yes, my love. You got to unmute yourself. You're a mute mofo, but I got you. Okay, you're able to talk as soon as you unmute yourself. Hey, maybe you did it. Nope, not quite yet. So with no one there to irritate you, and recognizing you're only irritating yourself, I had the funnest perception it was yesterday, actually. It was hilarious. First, my son tells me, my 19-year-old son, he goes, Mom, I've decided I'm going to get the vaccination. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he started to say something. And then I asked him something. I said, do you think it's good for you? He said, I don't know. Maybe it'll kill me. That'll be cool. And I'm like, oh, I see. Okay, interesting. So that's like just an interesting point of view. It's like, is that the mindset that drives a person to take the vaccine? Maybe it'll kill me. That'll be cool. Whatever. This thing sucks. And it's always just a passing thing. These thoughts that come to everyone, it's a passing thing, but people like to grab onto it and think that it's real, And when you recognize that these kinds of thoughts are a passing thing, like the death thought, and everyone has it. A lot of people won't admit that they have it, but everyone has it, because it's intricate. You can say it's intricately woven into the thought structure that's built in separation. Is this attraction to death, and at the same time a fear of death, and anticipation, and there's the idea that you're going to rest when you're dead, and that's just not how it works either. That's a misconception. All you're doing is making more activity for yourself, thinking that way. Whether or not you do the act of committing suicide or whatever it is, get murdered, whatever the thing that, it's all the same, really. It's the way you're thinking, like you think that is like speaking to reality, and not realizing that you're only thinking like that because you're in delusion. You've been swept by delusion, and it's good. It's good. I'm like, oh, good. There's that feeling. There's that thought. Oh, good. It's like our function here is to get that feeling, and also not give any truth to the idea. I mean, I'm happy when the thought visits me, whether it comes in the form of another person or in a form of just a thought in my own mind. If I hear it from another person. One of my friends was telling me that she was depressed and hopeless, and I was feeling that, and it's the same as to me as if the thought just crossed my mind, if it's coming apparently from a body in my perception, because it's really coming from the same place. So it's just the same, you see? So I don't make a difference between it came out of that mouth or it came out of that mouth. It's always arising in my mind, and it's there to be met with reason. So as long as I'm willing to be reasonable, which I am, because it feels good and it's relieving. Oh, thank goodness. That doesn't mean anything. You don't have to make it mean anything. The people make drama out of it and make it mean something. So the illusion plays out that way, like when there's making drama about that death thought, then there's an illusion playing out like you hurt yourself, like you did something to hurt yourself. That's a common thing. Like you can do something to hurt yourself. That's not even true, but it plays out like that on the surface, as if you did something. Oh, like, it turns out to be, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Now look what's happening, even though nothing has any power to make effects, including the vaccine. The vaccine has no power to make effects. So any sense of uneasiness that arises in my mind from having the perception of my son saying that he's going to get the vaccine, it's just perfect for me. It doesn't even matter if he gets the vaccine or not. It's not even relevant. I mean, for one thing, if he's thinking against himself, he's going to perceive consequences that seem like they're coming from the world. They're not. They're always coming from the mind. Whether it apparently come from a vaccine or from something else, that's the way it is. That's how it is for all of us. And we get a perception that we made some mistake down the road and somehow harmed ourselves. So, having your eye on really watching how you make bodies vulnerable is showing how you make your own body vulnerable to worldly things and susceptible to illness, injury, accident, death. Okay. So don't give any value to a thought that says, let's say, for instance, someone got lung cancer, someone that got lung cancer, and they were a chain smoker. Making that correlation between the smoking and the lung cancer is an attack on your body. And see, and we've been trained to look at things like that and make things like that. It's never caused by something in the world. It's always caused by guilty thought. That's what I mean by thinking against yourself. It's a guilty thought, and it is thinking against yourself to make it as if someone is suffering because of something they did before, or someone is suffering because of something that someone else did to them. Any kind of cause. And when you believe in a cause in the world, you make yourself vulnerable to illusions of harm. And you don't want to make yourself vulnerable to illusions. That's like the opposite of what you want. Okay. The body itself, it doesn't really have to die. We set it up like that, like it has to die. It doesn't actually have to die. I'm not saying that it's eternal, but I'm saying that we can actually see right through these bodies to what eternity is, and the bodies are just no more. And then that we will do that. It's not it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Okay, it's just a matter of when. As we set up all these illusions in place and we believe them so strongly, we believe them with defensiveness. So, I have friends of mine that will come to me sometimes and talk to me about about stuff. Sometimes they won't come to me because they know the defensiveness. They don't want to hear what I have to say at that time. And that's cool. That's all really good. I mean, it's just to acknowledge that. When you acknowledge that, it's like you just go through the different waves, and at some point you will be made willing, because you see how it hurts you to think against yourself. The more you see how it hurts you, the less you will think against yourself. You just won't be able to. It's kind of like you won't be able to stomach it. You know too much, so it has an immediate effect on you. And that's really the only thing that does have an effect on you, is the way that you think, not anything else in the illusion. Okay, it's not your family or anything. Whenever you're hearing, I want it this way. smile, be glad, because now you're getting a feeling that you need for healing. That feeling that's coming up with, I want it different. That's what exactly where the attention needs to go, to that feeling, and embracing that feeling and letting it be like a signal to you. You know, to me, it's like the Holy Spirit speaks in the language of sensation. You know, if there's a sensation that's not peaceful and calming, that means whatever thought is projecting that thought is false. So I don't even have to know what the thought is. It's not necessary for me to know what the thought is. It's like when I'm aware that I'm engaging in a false thought, I'm immediately uplifted, and my energy is immediately uplifted because I don't have to stay in a false thought. I don't have to beat myself up. It's not necessary. So I can have relief right away. And I do have relief right away. I get the same kind of waves that everyone else does. You know, you get the feeling, you get a feeling wave of, oh, something's kind of like yucky or nauseous, or, you know, just a feeling wave. And that's all that they are, is sensation. And they're just coming up to be felt. And the thing is, the tip of it seems like it's fearful. It seems like something that you don't want, but underneath that is even more peace and relaxation. So it's really a blessing that it's coming. It's got to be seen as a blessing for you to get all the healing benefits out of it and not be tore back by it. See? That's why, you know, like if I feel like I'm really emotional, oh, I'm really emotional today, there's a lot of emotional swings happening today. It's like, yay. This is awesome. You know, chances are everyone else is feeling those waves too. Edible flower, in case you're wondering what I'm eating. I don't know what it's called, but it sure is pretty. It's kind of like I shared before. Everyone is conspiring to wake you up from dreaming that you die. No, these dreams end in death, right? They don't have to, but that's what we've been seeing. That's what we've been not seeing. That's what we've been perceiving. So there's no death. There's just a dream ending in death. See? It's death in a dream. There's no, that doesn't end anything. There's no rest for you. The ego pursues you beyond that. So, you know, that's a good one to acknowledge, because when you get the death thought, when the death thought comes to you, like that thought that you'll be restful when you die. Maybe I should just like end it all right now so I could be at peace. I'm like, that's not going to do it. It just keeps on going. You're still getting pursued by the ego until you see through it. And then when you see through it, you don't need to have a perception of a body dying. I mean, at some point, we're all going to see what was already here, what's always been here. It's like we have a veil before our eyes. We're not seeing it all. So to bring about that vision, it's pure vision. It's vision without any guilt. To bring about that pure vision just takes a willingness to look through, look past whatever's denying it. And if you want something to be different, that means your sight denying it. It's denying what it is already, because you want what it is. It's not the way you see it. But as long as you do see it that way, you want to heal that. Because it's not the way you see it. If anyone is doing anything wrong, and that includes like world people like Bill Gates and those guys, if anyone seems to be doing anything wrong to you, you're making yourself vulnerable to harm. The mind is naturally going to go, like if you guys are like non-vaxxers, people that don't really get vaccines, like maybe you read the ingredients and you saw that it was just all a bunch of poisons and you don't get any vaccines or anything like that. When you hear of someone that you know getting a vaccine, it's going to only be natural for you to start thinking the worst. Okay. So all you need right there is guidance. Don't believe those thoughts. Watch them, notice them, give them a nod. Thank you. Thank them. Don't believe in them though, because that's what makes you vulnerable to harm. Whenever you're thinking that someone's going to have some bad effects or something like that, we can overcome all the bad effects. And then at the same time, there seems to be a lot of wishful thinking on the part of those who don't believe in vaccines, don't believe these even are vaccines. They're of something else and dangerous and everything like that. To feed thoughts that people are going to get sick and die from these quote vaccines. Okay. It's a dream. So that's not necessary. It's not necessary for any adverse effects to happen. Any adverse effects that you perceive are perceived in a dream. You have the authority and power to heal the perception, which is the only thing that can be healed. I know you heard it before, but I know it's a lot more of a challenge to apply it when you're getting a really fearful perception, like you're afraid that someone in your family is going to have side effects of the vaccine that kill them or seriously injure them. Okay. We all get thoughts like this occurring to us depending on what our conditioning is. So we have these unique structures of thought with unique conditioning. Depending on what our conditioning is, we're going to get perceptions that are going to strike fear into our hearts. And that's a healing opportunity, actually. It's not anything to go, I can't believe it. I loved it when I got the perception. My son told me he's going to get the vaccine. I'm like, COVID vaccine? He's like, yeah. Oh, okay. And then a few minutes later, I went on Facebook. I don't know what I was doing on Facebook. I don't normally go on there these days, but I find myself on Facebook. One of the first things I see, one of my friends from this community says that her son took the COVID shot and died. I just had to laugh at that because that was just so good. First, I'm getting a perception that my son is going to get the COVID test. And then like minutes later, I get the perception that my friend's son died from the COVID shot. I just had to crack up. About that. It was just too obvious. Like it was just trying really hard to hook me into some kind of fear thing. So I shared it with my husband. I shared with my husband. I was like, you don't believe the perception I'm having right now. I just shared the same thing with him. And so he goes, oh my goodness, did you tell him that? And I said, no, I do not want to scare him about the shot. I know it doesn't have any effects, but fear has effects. So I wasn't trying to like get him to be scared of his, he made a decision. He's 19 years old. He made a decision. He wants to get a COVID shot, and he doesn't, he's already heard the conversation on it. He's done his own research. It's what he wants to do. Um, it's good. And then, of course, the thought occurs, what if he dies? It's good. It's his path. That's the situation. I mean, if that's the perception, that's not something that can happen without his authority anyways. That's a thing I really got a long time ago. That's why I wasn't afraid of letting my kids do whatever the hell they wanted. I just wasn't afraid of them getting in some kind of accident or this. If they do, that's meant to be. It does not occur without their authority. And the healing and the undoing of illusion is all through our interpersonal relations. So it's up to us to demonstrate that there is no threat here. There is nothing to be afraid of. And that's how we end up seeing through all this garbage gobbledygook that we see. Okay, because it seems like there's all these threats in the world. And people have different opinions of what the threat is. To some people, an unvaccinated person is a threat. And that's just as valid as making a vaccine a threat. It's the same. Okay. You might say, well, no, it's not the same because, you're making a person a threat. You can get violent against that person. You're not going to get violent against the vaccine. I mean, maybe you will, but it's not going to do anything. What I'm saying is the fear is the same. The fear, if fear is fear, fear begets punishment. That's just the way it goes. So we don't want to punish ourselves. It's time to withdraw our punishment for others. It's time to withdraw our punishment for ourselves and making ourselves vulnerable to things, making things out as if they can harm us, making people out as if they can hold us back from our dreams. It's funny because that often gets applied to like the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff, like how someone's holding someone down. In this case it's the white man holding the black man down, and it's just a symbol. It's like we've been holding our spirit, our free spirit, down in favor of conforming to a very sick society. Which is a projection of a very sick mind, because there is no society. And that's the thing that can give you a lot of comfort, is there is no society. So the society that you're perceiving is actually projected by you. That makes it loving. That means it has your best interest in mind, because it is you, no matter what you perceive. And I know that there's a perception of maniacs. What I heard Reinhard Fulmick say something, maniac. No, that was one of them, but some words about these, it's like crazy, evil, mastermindy type stuff going on, The thing is, it's friendly. It's friendly. And I'm not saying like to bypass it. I'm saying look at it as you perceive it, because as you perceive it is what makes it real for you. So there's a feeling associated with that. Look at that, how that feeling is, because you're actually projecting it if you're perceiving it. So since you're projecting it, that means you have all the power to heal your perception. And why not? Who wouldn't want to perceive the world as friendly? Einstein said something about that too. He's like, either you could perceive the world as friendly or unfriendly. It could be perceived as in your favor or against you. That's your choice. I mean, you can be honest about how you're perceiving it. Wow, these mastermind mega maniacs are trying to vaccinate everyone and committing fraud and all this other stuff. But what takes all of the pressure out of it What makes it exciting and not damning is that you're projecting it. That's what makes it exciting. Because the more you put fear into it, the more you project it as if it's separate from you, as if it has power over you, and as if it has power over other people too. So you're doing it to yourself. I know it's not easy. I know. I know. And it's and the ease of it changes from moment to moment. And as you're willing to see things the way they actually are, not the way you made them, it gets easier and easier until it just becomes a kind of a knack. Right away. Oh, I'm swept up in, of course, like, I'm not recommending trying to avoid the facts of the matter. The dream facts. You don't have to avoid the dream facts. People come up to me and tell me all kinds of stuff all the time. Sometimes people tell me about the gravest things, and it's global. It's like global stuff, like these gravest things. So what I do is I get the feeling reaction to that. I get the feeling, like I could feel a person when they're coming with the information. They're coming from me too, so I could feel them, and get that feeling with them, but know that it has no effect. That's the difference, because then it's not supporting the idea that made that feeling feel real to you. So it opens up to even more relaxation. A lot of the times, it's like, I just hug people. People tell me a bunch of bad stuff that's going on. They feel really bad about it. I'm like, let's have a hug about that, and like kind of help people be here, be here where we are right now, not traveling on in dark fantasy land. Dark fantasy land, also known as hell. Yes. People seem to love to go there from time to time. No one's trapped. So one of my friends having a hard time because she's perceiving people starving in Africa. One thing is as good as another. Could be suffering over, you saw a new gray hair today. It's the same. Suffering is suffering. Okay. Like with kids in Africa, it's the same thing. Once that occurs to you, you projected it. If you just heard me say it right now, you projected it. That's how it is. And if it triggers an upset feeling for you, thank, offer thanks. You don't see them clearly. No one's starving. People are getting the experience of starving. But there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, sure, you might be able to stop some people from being hungry for a minute, but they can't help but starve because that's what's going on in the mind. It's a projection. So if you want to help starving, look what's starving for your attention. Okay. There's an upset feeling there that comes along with having the perception that someone's starving. You're projecting that. So you can get that feeling. So you can deny truth to the thoughts that are projecting that feeling. So you can cure hunger once and for all. And, we will. There's only one of us. There's only one of us. And as every one of us, basically, I feel to let you know what I mean. Like, I mean by that. There's these different structures of thought. there's only one perceiver. There's these different structures of thought that the perception is filtered through. I'd say it's filtered through these different structures. And everyone has their subjective experience, but there's only one experiencer. There's only one of us. And as the mind heals, we're going to start perceiving more of us who can see clearly. I've had amazing interactions where people have told me basically that this is a dream. People have said, there's definitely nothing else except what's coming from me. So people start to speak that back to you. At first, you might seem like you're all alone in it, but then people start to speak it back to you. So we go together. We see everyone transform before us. Everyone transforms before us. We go last. So everyone transforms in our sight. There's no one bothering us anymore. Everyone transforms into something that's worthy of gratitude, nothing short of gratitude. And that's what releases us. That's what releases us from our unforgiveness and faithlessness. Let everyone else be as they are. Let everyone have their path and have their way, even if it seems like they're killing themselves. If they need to kill themselves, they need to kill themselves. That's also something you can't help. We only can get the perception that we can stop these kinds of things from happening. We can't actually stop anything from happening because it's projected from the mind, and the mind needs to have these experiences. I remember when I was down at my place in Hinalo, the one that got taken by the lava in 18, and there was this fear of not having insurance. Like there was this fear of not having insurance. And I was like, well, that's interesting because there's this fear. So even if I get the perception that I bought insurance, I'm still expecting some sort of devastation. It's not going to matter. Like it's not going to matter. And then I was like, might as well just not have the insurance. You know, might as well just fuck it. Don't even try. You know, it's like, and it doesn't matter, like if you get insurance or what. If you do, you don't, doesn't matter. Your lessons are coming. They're coming no matter what. And you can't hurt yourself by doing something in the world. You can't really hurt yourself, but you can make illusions of hurting yourself by thinking against yourself in your mind. Even then, you're still dreaming, though. You can't actually hurt yourself. And it seems like a long time, and it seems like grueling in a dream, but at the end of the dream, it's just a dream. So it didn't last any amount of time. It's just gone. So it's nothing. So any pain that you seem to endure here, it doesn't last. Only pain is coming from the mind. And it just keeps on projecting it. That's why there's an addiction or an attraction to holding on to screwed up experiences that you've had. Holding on to someone said something mean to you in 6th grade. And it comes back now. Or you gave a shitty performance one time. They're just it's just the mind grabbing at these things. Or even, you know, how dare that bitch talked to me like that last week, you know? See if you can get some compassion for this. Silence helps a lot because, you know, these thoughts will occur to you like some wrong, some trespass someone did, or something you did to someone else. No one did anything. No one even did anything. But mid thought, you can recognize that, and that makes it quiet. When it's quiet, that's healing. That's a silence. It just silences it. Another way is to go to gratitude. I love going to gratitude. That is like one of my favorite things because it feels really good. So I get the thought of perception of some situation where someone did something shitty to me, or I did something shitty, or I wasn't making myself proud, or whatever, and give gratitude, like actually say in my mind, I am grateful for this situation. And it's amazing how that shifts the way you feel about the, like, toward the whole thing. It allows you to be right in joy and not having to harp on that situation, beating yourself up about it or anything. Okay. Every perception of sickness, aging, death, any of that stuff, it all comes from the same thing. It all comes from self-abuse in the mind, not anything else, not another person. Certainly not circumstances in the world. These circumstances in the world, no matter what, they never mean anything. They never meant anything. I mean, it's just, it's funny. It's like it turns into a big dog and pony show. Like, oh no, are there going to be some more lockdowns? You better get your vaccine because they're going to start making things tighter pretty soon. You're not going to be able to do this and that and this and that. It's so meaningless. It's really just revealing itself more that it's meaningless. Because when you're not paying attention to that stuff, it doesn't even exist. You don't even, it's not even like part of your thing. And you know, it could come into your attention and go right back out again. There's no, because there's no need to hold on to it. There's no need to hang on to anything about it. So you just let it drop again. Just keep letting it drop. Make that whole system, that whole perceived system of authority, make it completely meaningless. It's only meaningful because we've been given it meaning. So like we could just like have it completely meaningless, not just a matter of moment to moment, just letting it drop. No, give it so much attention. But you know, exercise a lot of kindness, because really, you know, this is kind of like a war. It's more like a spiritual war, and the way to win the war is unity, right? Because it's not even like one side won the war, one side lost the war. It's just that there is no need for war. I guess winning the war isn't really the right terminology then. Sorry about that. There's just no need for it. We just prove that there is no need for it. And you know, one way to go about that is just be in joy for whatever it is, whatever the perception is. You know, I love that perception. The FEMA camp one. Someone brought up the FEMA camp one. They're going to put us all in FEMA camps. Like, oh, awesome. I'm sure FEMA camp is going to be awesome. If I'm a FEMA camp, I know it's awesome there. So I know wherever I am, it's freaking fun. FEMA camp or whatever. So I just don't let myself get troubled over these little ideas. Prediction. There's a prediction. Someone gave me a prediction about more than one person did. And I saw like, I went and looked it up, and it looked like, wow, yeah, they just, the stock market just sold all these travel stocks. They just sold all these travel stocks, and I'm about to travel, and they're talking about another lockdown. So at first I was like, I don't really know if I'm like feeling like going over there. Well, and then I go, when is that shit gonna even end? I mean, I might as well just go. If it just so happens that I get stranded over in Vegas, then that's where I belong. I'm not gonna be worried about it. Like whatever it is, I'm just gonna play with it. Like, and I don't feel drawn to cancel the trip. I feel totally excited for it. Um, and they say August 11th through the 15th or something like that, right when I'm there. So that'll be fun. Maybe I'll be doing wisdom dialogues from Las Vegas after this. We'll see. Yeah, just the awareness that nothing traps you. And even the most intense thing, even the most intense thing that it can be, totally breaks down to a feeling, and you can handle any feeling. So, you know, don't buy into the idea that you can't handle something. Like you can't handle life, however life is coming your way. Because the thing is, you can always relax. Doesn't matter what seems to be occurring on the surface, you can always relax. Relaxation is in the mind. So it's kind of like you're always kicking back a little bit more. Just breathe and relax, and knowing that it's all sensations and it's all coming from you, meaning that it's very friendly. If it doesn't look friendly, that's just not true. That's just something that you made out of it. Give it a hug. You know, give it a hug in your mind. I'm not saying to like walk up to everyone and hug them if they look unfriendly, like they got a sword in their hand or something. You know, you don't really have a choice in that anyways, but it's like you give that idea that they actually are like the way you see them, you give it a hug. You don't buy into it. See, it's all the buying into someone's personality is this way that makes them that way. It really is, you guys. It makes them that way for you. I've seen this play out ever since I was very young. You know, we look at certain people and we perceive them a certain way. We think it's true, and we start interacting with them like that. And we bring that energy out of them. We paint the picture on them. They are not really doing anything at all. They're just like we're not doing anything. We're just dreaming. They're kept completely safe from your attacks on what they are. They're, you know, so you could say they're kept with God, completely safe from all these attacks that you lay on them, which, you know, you're really laying on yourself. There's no one to attack. No one to have done wrong. And, you know, it's fun because from moment to moment, as it comes up, someone did something shitty, you have another opportunity to practice. And in that practice, you find even more joy. Why not? Doesn't that sound better than holding on to the idea you have of them? Getting some relief? Yes, Kai, thoughts need our attention to survive. Thank you. That's right. So we could have whatever thoughts we want. And you're fine. I mean, you're not hurting yourself if the thought is uplifting and equally generous to all. If it's not worthy of you. And I'm telling you, like 95 to 99% of them are like that. 99 to 90, 95, 99% are against you. Look how many times the thought goes to how you're going to pay for something, for instance, if you're going to be okay. how you're going to escape the Gestapo if they come over and try to pin you down and give you a shot. One guy asked me, all seriousness, he was like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. He's like, what am I going to do if they come and they do this and this and this and this? I go, you just have right now. You don't have later on if they do stuff. You just have right now. Get peace now, because it's just this moment unfolding. Then when they show up, you'll be at peace, and then you'll know exactly what to do. I don't have any advice on that. You'll know exactly what to do in the moment if you're practiced. Meaning, as the thoughts arising, what if they, which is common, that thing will not shut up. It just keeps on talking, right? No relief from it. What if they, oh yeah, thank goodness. It's this moment right now. I can just take a breath right now and be right here and relax right here, because nothing in the world can show up at my doorstep unless I put it there. And if I put it there, it's friendly. Oh, you came to force a vaccine on me. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And then don't give it any power. See, any of these evil plans or whatever that are trying to play out, they cannot estimate the power of your spirit. They cannot be estimated. There's nothing that can overcome that. There's nothing in the world. Okay? It takes a stressed out, scared mind to produce illusions of harm in the world. So guard your mind and don't let it get all stressed out and scared. Then you can't even get a sickness. Not even possible to get sickness. If you know that there's no such thing as sickness, if you know that, you can't even get sick. Can't get the illusion of sick. You can't get sick anyway, but you can get the illusion of sick. And your mind is powerful to make illusions, so it can seem like you're really sick. And if you do get the illusion that you've gotten sick, don't give credit for the sickness to another illusion. Don't give credit to the sickness to a virus. Don't give credit to the sickness to some environmental factor like 5G. Don't give credit to any of your sicknesses to something that you perceive in the world. Your feeling sick is the effect of thinking against yourself, and that's all, and hooray. Because that gives you all the power. You decide. And sickness can't remain unless there's guilt. There's guilt, there's fear of punishment. Someone else seems like they're sick to you. Deny any thought that tells you they're sick because of something. Someone's sick, someone seems like they're sick because they got a vaccine or they died because they got a vaccine. Deny, deny, deny. Yay, Amy. Deny truth to illusions. You know it's an illusion because it feels separate. It feels upsetting, it feels yucky. It's like a nauseous thing, maybe. Lump in the throat. Burden on the heart. It's always speaking to something that's false. The illusion is friendly, it's playful. Everyone just wants to play with you. Look at it, everyone's conspiring to awaken you. How could you have anything but gratitude for whoever it is that seems to be an issue? Whoever it is to be that seems to be making disharmony in your life. You know, one way I like to practice yoga is a yoga asana, talking about now, is just right in the middle of the house. And you know, that's the way it's set up. It's kind of like right in the middle of the house. And I'll be over there. I'll have like a personal trainer with me, a yoga trainer, and I'll be in some precarious, pretzely, twisty thing. And then the next thing you know, there's like boys and a dog running by, you know. They might even like be like making a bunch of noise, maybe having a whole conversation right next to me and stuff like that. And I love just the sense like something's out of place. That sense like something's out of place. I love it. You know why? Because I always get a deeper sense of joy. So I love to get the sense that something's out of place. That's kind of like the opposite of how most people function. They're trying to get everything in place so they don't have to feel like something's out of place. I just love getting the feeling like something's out of place because I know it's not. That's just some scenario that I came up with in my mind. Get a rooster going off right next to me. And it usually seems to happen in one of those precarious situations, you know, where you're like barely standing on one leg or something, like all twisted up, standing on one leg. And all of a sudden, it's like, ah, ah. And that's how I feel about everything. It's like, hooray. You know, I started to notice that come up for me when I was probably in my early 30s. And my husband came up to me about something that seemed like, you know, it was like building up to be something that was kind of like going to be fearful, you know, like a key employee quitting our company, you know. And I felt it when he told me, like it was a sense of hopelessness. And then I just felt this sense of yay, like something, energy is moving. This is good. It's always good news. And I start to realize it's always good news. Whenever it seems like the worst news, it's actually the best news. You know, because it's spurring you on. It's spurring you on for more learning, and the learning is basically ultimately you're learning that there is no guilt, there's no separation, you've never done anything, no one's ever done anything to you, and all things arise only in your perception, and the perception is the only thing that can heal. That's all. Oh no, the landlord's kicking us out. Bad news. Oh no, we didn't have any insurance and our whole house went under the lava. Bad news. I was like, yes, you can't, you know, you can't plan for these things. They just like, they occur randomly. They're chaotic. And they also come according to what you need. The specific circumstances are completely chaos. There's nothing you can do to change it. Can't go back and change it. You couldn't have ever changed it. It was meant to be the way it is. But you use it for learning. And everything shows it has benefits, lots of them. More peace in your life. That is a huge benefit. Don't have to be suffering or struggling or hoping that you do it right or get the right effect. It's like whatever effect comes, it's perfect. perfect for me. Get the perception that you just screwed some stuff up, you know. One of my friends was saying how they keep on hurting people. They keep on hurting the people that they love. It's like, I know this is difficult, but you just need to get that feeling and let it be perfect. It's perfect. You're not capable of hurting anyone. Really, that's just a habit that you're perceiving yourself to be hurting people. And the more you resist it, the more it comes back around. That's why people are frustrated. They're going, why do I keep on hurting people? Because you believe you can. You trained yourself to think that that's actually possible, and then you can do something about it. So you're getting the perception of failure over and over again. Only until you're willing to see you're not capable of harming or being harmed. No one can do anything to you, and you can't do anything to them. You could just have a perception, a misperception, and perpetuate it forward so that you get the perception of yourself doing that continually. And oh, I'm such a bad person. No, you're not a bad person. You believe that you are a person. You're ignorant. That's all. And ignorance is innocence. Ignorance is innocent. There's nothing wrong with being ignorant. You can't help it. And then when you're ready and you feel like you want to see through the ignorance, then you'll start being attracted to these kinds of teachings. And then you'll start practicing it, and then you'll just start teaching it yourself. It's natural. And every eye will see. You guys probably know that it's a Bible verse for those of you not familiar. It's a Bible verse. Jesus said it, every eye will see. So everyone's going to know what the truth is, and suffering is going to bring everyone to it. The ones who are having the perception that they have a bunch of money and they're ruling the world and stuff like that, you know, they have their, you could say, judgment day, but it's not like what most people think it is. That's just where the truth comes to light. You know, God's judgment is true. It's innocence. Everything is innocent. Everyone is innocent. Everyone will have their judgment day, and it's a good thing. It's not a punishment thing. You know, where your life is run by your own judgment, it just always leads to death. Who cares? I mean, who is caring about, you have to be in so deep in it to be caring about how much money you have in this thing, trying to get a bunch of money off of people, because it's going to death no matter what. So why do you want to be an asshole? I don't know. I put you there if you are one. But it's kind of like how I had that perception when I was 14. Like these 3 dudes were about ready to rape me, right? And then I just would not accept the perception. I wouldn't accept that perception. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have the training yet, you know. I did have training though as a Christian missionary, so I trusted that I was completely safe. You know, I just trusted that I was completely safe because I was always with Jesus. I just say, help me, Jesus. And, you know, sure enough, my perception would change. And there were other times where I didn't want my perception changed. I didn't ask for my perception changed. I saw them as bad people, and I was committed to my perception. And then they proved to be bad people who did bad things to me. Isn't that fun? Just in refusing to believe, refusing to put that belief onto them, like they could or would or don't have my best interest in mind. That's another thing, you know. And it's a difficult one. Don't question their motives. Don't question anyone's motives, because the motives that you come up with are false. And they all have the same motive, and that's to help you awaken your mind. It doesn't matter what it looks like on the surface. You could have like world leaders gathering together, talking about how they're gonna genocide most of the population, and then they're gonna control the rest, whatever is left over, okay? You can have that perception and also know that it's false. And in that knowing that it's false, you have peace with it. You're not afraid of it. That is working in your best interest. Them even having that meeting, they are working in your best interest because they're only having that meeting in your perception, where they're planning all this bad shit. Stop questioning their motives. Let whatever your perception is be what it is. Get the feeling of it and ask for another interpretation so that you can see them as light and playful. And you could play all the way through it. I heard the story of someone who went to one of those German camps. Well, I forgot what they're called, where they had put the Jews in some kind of concentration camp. Okay, so it put some people in a concentration camp, and there was a story about this man who taught this boy that he was in a fun place. And the boy totally believed he was in a fun place, and the boy survived it. He was playful the whole time. It's such a manifestation of consciousness, you guys. This is not something to be taken in some kind of degrees. It is a manifestation of consciousness. It's not anything else. So we make it what it is. We make ourselves fearful of things, and then they play out that way, but there's really nothing to be afraid of. Since we're making it up, we can withdraw power from anything that's fearful. We have that power. That's like our whole function in this thing. Just withdraw power from anything that seems fearful. It's like once we're aware, once we know that's what it's for, then it doesn't stand a chance. The evil that we put into it, it doesn't stand a chance. Of course, love wins. And, it's a matter of time from everyone's perspective. I am grateful for people starving in Africa. Thank you, people starving in Africa. Thank you for giving me that perception. I am grateful for whatever it is the circumstance seems to be. In a world where nothing's happening and you can't do anything to change anything, but you can heal the perception. Thank you. That does it. Practice gratitude. It's so simple. Once again, not easy, because people don't want to. It just sounds weird to people. I am grateful for people starving in Africa. But if you're willing, you'll actually feel it, and you'll feel the gratitude for them. That's what they need. They are you, remember? They are you. They're asking for healing in your name. You have the power to give it to them. Oh, that was from the movie, that story that I said it was from the movie Life is Beautiful. Okay, maybe I'll watch that movie. I don't know where I heard that story before, but it just touched me about the boy playing in the concentration camp. Bob's saying it's from the movie Life is Beautiful. So that's fun. Okay, does anyone have any questions for me today? I am getting ready to check out. I know it's a little bit early. I think I gave you a lot though, and I'm hot. It's one of those hotter days. The sun seems to be creeping. Yeah, if there's something you guys want me to talk about, let me know. If there's something you want to communicate with me, let me know. we'll see what else transpires. I won't be here next week. I won't be here for Friday in person. Hawaiian Sanctuary won't be here this Friday. I won't be here next week Monday. I'm going on a trip to Las Vegas. My brother's getting married there and we're having lots of fun. At least I know I'm having lots of fun. No, my family's really fun. I think it's going to be a blast. I'm really excited about it. Gonna have a bunch of essential oils on me. So if you're in Vegas, I'll be there for a week. You want to like meet up or anything, let me know. Yeah. Looks like we are complete for the day. What a fun, short-ish wisdom dialogues. I love it. Yay. Oh, aloha, Kai. I love you. Okay, until next time. Oh, if you want to see my recordings, I got these recorded. I got the in-person ones also recorded on audio. Go to hopejohnson.org to the Wisdom Dialogues page. You'll see it there. You can also sign up to get on these live ones with me. You can also donate. Thank you. I appreciate donations too. That's really awesome. You can donate from that page. And soon I'll set up a way where you can make one-on-ones with me. If you want to have a one-on-one with me, just reach out to me. However you do, email hopejohnson@me.com works, or however you know how to get hold of me. Thank you so much. I love you. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.